welcome to Mistyfell for the start of a brew day. So it's quite crowded in here today, and I'm going to take the liquid from the fermenter. So that brew has been in there for 7 days. It's pretty much ready to go. In fact, it is ready to go. That's going to go through a filter into a keg, and we're going to do that by a closed system. So I'll show you how to do that. Then we have, same time, we've got a Grainfather. Grainfather's full of strike water, so we have exactly the right amount of strike water for our recipe in here, which in this case is about, I think it's about 15.5 litres. And that's run by the Grandfather app. So this is the G30, and you'll see features of this as we go through the day, and I'll try and break this down into individual videos. On the right hand side up there we have our sparging water, so that's just sat in a kettle. It's cold at the moment. Exactly the right amount of sparging water in there. Now the Grainfather will give us a hint as to when we need to start heating that, so we're not wasting electricity, which is good. And the Grainfather is controlled by the app, which you can or don't use. It's entirely up to you. It's a useful thing, and it beeps at you every time you need to do a stage of the process. So the first thing that I'm going to do today is add the grain. So it's telling me to add the grain, and if you can have a peek in there, oh, it's a bit warm. So we have some, in fact it's steaming up. We have some water in there, heated to 66 degrees, I think it is. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is add the grain. In order to add the grain, I need to just flip off the lid, which I've had on while the water is heated. It's just more efficient if you keep the lid on at that stage. Just put that over there. And we need to drop in the grain basket that has the filter already installed in the bottom. That just slides in here, drops in. Now at this stage we've got two other pieces that we need to add to the Grainfather. I'll give you a closer shot in a moment. This is just to stop the grain falling down below the sieve, so you pop that one in first. And this is a stopper that fills in the hole. So let's show you a video. Today we are brewing my session ale. It's about 4.5%. It's a lovely clear English ale, so that's the one we'll be doing today. And the grain for that has been pre-mixed and bagged by my friends at the Malt Miller here in the UK. You send them a recipe, they will mix it all up. It even comes with your name on it, and all the ingredients you've got within your recipe at the right amount. So all I need to do is cut it open and pour it in. Let's take a pair of scissors. I can do this without cutting my fingers off. There we go. And we pour in, I'll pour in about half of it because we need to mash it. So let's pour that in. There we go. It's near enough half. Put that back down there. Then take the paddle and we'll just mash that in. I tend to use about half a litre additional water, strike water, than the Grainfather calculates, and that seems to make the process a little bit easier, and it makes no difference at all to the flavour of the beer. So reduce the sparge water by half and add an extra half to the suggested and calculated amounts that the Grainfather app has calculated for me. So that's the first half in. Let's just put that to one side, and we'll finish off pouring the rest in. There we go. That's all done, and we'll complete the process by mashing the remainder of the grain into the water. So here we have the grain mashed down pretty completely and stirred with the paddle, just so we can break up any lumps. We don't want any lumps in there. Nice fluid mixture. Excellent. Oh, I love the smell as well. It's fantastic. Here we go. Let's get any off the edge that we can. And the next stage will be to put in the top filter. So I'm pretty happy with that now. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the phone in one hand and stir with the other, which is probably not making you feel particularly well. There we go. So the next stage is to put the top filter on the grain, and this needs to just sit on top of the liquid, not sunking, just sit literally on top. Now, one of the features of the Grainfather that is a bit of a pain in the arse are these filters have got a rubber seal, a silicone seal that goes all the way around the outside, and they are really difficult to get in place, and they slide off. You can moisten it, and actually this one isn't so bad, it's getting the bottom one in sprung. So Grainfather, if you're watching this, not good, you need to do something better. But that is one of the few faults I've found with the system, and I've done 50 odd brews with this. It's not done badly really, so I shouldn't complain. Anyway, let's just slide that in place. In order to set the mash going, we need to attach the circulation arm that on the Grainfather. Just press down slightly and screw that on. You also have a little tap, if you can see that, a little tap on the side. Don't have that full open to start with, just turn it back about a quarter. We need to control the flow of the water at the start of the process when it's cloudy. As we go further through, this is a 90-minute mash. As we go further through the mash, the water will clear and we can speed this up. But if you're not careful, you'll end up with just too much water on top of the filter, and sometimes it'll even suck the grain down, and you end up having to just stop the process and do it all over again. So anyway, so that's now ready to go. So I can either on the app press the button, or indeed on here. So if we press it on here, and I'll switch to the other view in a second. There we go. That's all stirred in quite nicely. Let's take out the paddle, and we'll take it to the next stage. And that's the top filter in place now, and we're ready to start the mash. This is what's going on inside. As long as that filter plate is covered, I'm pretty happy. I could just up the rate a little bit. What you don't want is it being too full. If it goes above the tabs, then I'll just turn it down and control it. So for the first period of the mash, just keep a gentle eye, use the valve to change the levels if you need to. Otherwise, you pretty much leave it alone for 90 minutes and the app will tell us when it's time to move on. I've just noticed that I haven't removed the one stopper and replaced it with the other at this stage, so let's just do that. So that comes out, and actually we then put in this that slides over the top there and pushes down into the hole. So you've now got it's just an overflow pipe, it's nothing more. It's not the end of the world if your beer does overflow into the pipe. It's just wasted mash water, so try and keep it levels. At the moment you can see I've got a nice covering, so the water is circulating through the grains, mashing nicely. We are 66 minutes to go on the timer, and all is good. So we'll just let's have a look. We are now on 55 minutes to go. Temperature is maintained at 66 degrees. That's centigrade. So apologies for those of you in the US. And looking inside, you can see we've got some nice clear wort flowing through within the Grainfather. Everything's looking fine, and so the cloudiness is largely gone, and this will just circulate and take as many of the sugars out of the grain as it can for the next 55 minutes. So a quick look inside, you can see everything's looking good, lovely clear liquid, everything going quite nicely. This is what the Grainfather says, and we've got 6 minutes before we start sparging. We'll pick it up then.